is not a matter of priority, it's common sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if every department is traveling and spending like this and doing all sorts of things, it will happen. And you have the poor Minister of Health. I don't know why we budget anymore in this country, because that's a waste and useless exercise. I mean, it's not ignorant, say coming from a person like me.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, they spend money and then tell him and the economists find it. Right? But it is pure mismanagement. It isn't PDM saying PNP ain't spending things on the right things. It is pure mismanagement. They're overspending and they're spending on things that they don't need to spend things on. The other day, the Queen went to Kentucky. She flew on British Airways to Kentucky. The Premier going up there to meet the Foreign Affairs Committee. He flew on a jet. Why?
Costing this country
Why?
thousands of dollars.
We have to come to a common sense approach. Bigger and better for who? Tinier and smaller for who? And the fact is, it had to catch up with us. This country was bringing in some revenue.
Correct.
This country was making some money. And I remember when Bin Laden struck in 2000. This is one country that stood firm, didn't have to lay off people. We lost monies and taxes, accommodations and bad tax, but we didn't feel the pinch. You know why? Because they say stingy Derek Taylor was saving all the money for Washington to go in there and spend it. But thank God he had the foresight to build up a reserve so that when we lost all these monies and taxes, we could fall back on our savings.
Correct.
What would happen to us today? All our savings is tied up in the reserves for loans. We can't touch it. There are liens on that. What would happen today if people are terrified of traveling? We don't make the tourist dollar.
But Ms. Cartwright, if you were listening to the Minister of Finance in the House of Parliament last week, I got news for you, because he declared there is no reserve. So even the monies that were supposed to be in reserve to back up the loans, that is gone. The reserves are at zero. We are in trouble.
Then I blame the governor for that.
We're in trouble in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Turks and Caicos was spending and spending and spending as if we had a mint factory or we had a money tree somewhere. All of the practices were unsustainable. We just could not maintain it. The bottom line is we can't afford this government.
Well, the people,
we can't afford them. We can't afford them. We are paying the premier $10,000 a month to live in his own house. We can't afford him. Get me a cheaper premier.
But
we can't afford them.
$10,000
to live in his own house. Somebody pay me to live in my own house.
You know, I was actually shocked when the Minister of Finance declared that last week in the House of Parliament that we are actually paying the premier $10,000 a month house allowance here in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
To live in his own house. Please say that.
To live in his own house. And when we are talking about taxation, taxing our people, I mean, look at the United States. There's a softening of their economy. What are the lawmakers doing over there? They are trying to find ways to stimulate their economy by putting money into their people's pockets so that can stimulate spending into the economy. But here in the Turks and Caicos Islands, it's a reverse. The economy has softened. Revenues are down. They're going to be way down at the end of this financial year. But we have a premier who is talking about taxing our people. I mean,
it's going to come.
When our people are barely making minimum wage. The greater majority of our people are in the minimum wage bracket under this administration. The middle class in the Turks and Caicos Islands have been literally eroded in the last 3 years. And so you are either the few who surrounds with the government, sister, brother, auntie, cousin, relative blood, who has been able to get all the land and make all the big sales, or you're down in the poor class. And so at a time when our economy is on a downturn, he is announcing his new tax initiative. So now you barely can pay PPC. Our people are children in this country. Parents are at the point where they are deciding, have to decide whether I'm going to feed my children and cut off my power and live with a candle, because that's what's happening in the Turks and Caicos Islands tonight. Or whether I'm going to buy food, not buy food, and keep my $5 to put gas in my car. The Premier is announcing these new level of taxation. He's announcing his national health tax. He has announced his departure tax. I mean, he's talking about taxing our people for a brand new airport that, I mean, we have one of the best airports in the Caribbean region right now that just been built less than 6-7 years ago. And he's talking about overcrowding in the airport. And if you go at our airport 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, there's no crowding. It's empty. If you go there at 3, 4 after American Airlines and US Airways leave, it's empty.
You know what? One little word: scheduling.
Yes, yes. So we have a scheduling problem.
That's right.
At our state-of-the-art airport. But he's talking about building a new airport, taxing our people for a new airport and economic downtimes now. Okay, he's talking about
increasing the departure tax for tourists who live in here, making it even costlier to come here and leave.
Correct. And not only that,
no economic
$125 million for new hospitals. His new environmental impact initiative, where we, the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands, we haven't seen the blueprint, so we don't know what that is all about.
I can stop you right there.
And what it's going to cost.
Because one thing this government has been able to master is public relations. If they give a stick of candy to a child, the media is there. And I am still puzzled and baffled how the Minister of Health and the Minister of Finance came from England, and there was no big press conference. This is supposed to be the biggest deal any Turks and Caicos government has ever signed. The Premier and them didn't fly up to England.
No,
they didn't have a big press conference when they reached the airport here.
No.
They still didn't have no big press conference days after.
No.
They come in the middle of January to tell you Happy New Year and this is our report, and they just talk about forward with only one little line about the hospital. I am concerned and I am suspicious as to why there is no big to-do about the actual signing and the hospitals. What is in the fine print? We still don't know. We still don't know.
No, we don't. We don't.
And the fact is, I am going to step out on the limb to say that this is what I understand that is happening. We can't borrow the money. Notice the governor wasn't at the signing. Notice England ain't involved.
Not the British government.
So we're looking at a management company, and we're looking at the Turks and Caicos government. And what I was made to understand was that this company is loaning the monies. And they're going to manage the hospital for however many years. But say to me, at what rate are they lending it?
Correct.
Say to me, we borrow how much? 125, but we're paying back 300 million. Tell me something. But I've asked the Premier on a show. I've asked the Minister of Health on a show. I still don't see how we're going to save on this overseas treatment abroad, this medical treatment abroad. Why? A lot of now pure slackness, a whole lot of slackness going on now. Because if you broke your finger and use a PMP and you want to go away, you can go. But somebody with a big operation can't go because they're in PMP.
Correct.
And I don't care how they try to fix it, that happens sometimes in choosing how people go away. But you